Danny Flexen here for SecondsOut. Delighted to be joined by top trainer Shane McGuigan here at his gym in East London. Shane, how you doing?
Good, thanks, Danny, mate. Yeah, nice to see you down here.
Nice to be here. How's the family, I should ask as well? Obviously a young son in the house.
Yeah, he's good. He's doing well. So just actually went to Chris Billam-Smith's child's first birthday yesterday. So long drive down to Bournemouth, but good fun.
It looked like a lot of work because you're going to have to prepare yours in about 4 months.
Yeah, the missus will be doing a lot of that, to be honest. She loves it.
Now we're here to see all your fighters, but predominantly Chris, who has got his big world title fight against Lawrence Okolie coming in a couple of weeks. I guess the first question is, he's fighting someone who trained here under you for so long in Coley. How close, if at all, would you say those two were?
In weight? At the same weight?
In terms of their friendship or,
Oh, no, their friendship wasn't that close at all. Lawrence has always kind of kept himself to himself. Even, myself and Lawrence, it was, I like to try and get a good relationship with my fighters, but I won't force it upon them. We did our best to include him in all of the, in all the things that we're doing as a team, and he picked and chose which ones he wanted to jump in on. But he's busy. He had a different management set up. So at the time he was with 258. So he had a lot of obligations and stuff to get on with doing. But he wasn't that close with them. No.
How strange a situation is it for you? Because when Lawrence joined the gym, I think you said to Chris that they'll probably never fight. You obviously didn't see that coming, but now it is happening. It's kind of, they've shared 200 rounds plus of sparring. How strange is that as a situation for you compared to what you've been in the past as a trainer?
Yeah, it's boxing is a funny old business. It's like sometimes you sort of write things off that they'll never happen, and so, like, a lot of the time it does happen. But yeah, it's a bit strange. It's something that's never happened with me before. I've never trained someone up to, especially someone that's sort of like, we left on decent terms. There was no like malice between the two. Just Lawrence had moved on to Dubai, and he, to be honest, like he'd made quite an effort to try and keep our working relationship going, but it was unfeasible. I couldn't take my whole stable, Chris and Adam, Azeem, Caroline, Ellie, Scottney, all of the fighters that are developing talents, out to Morocco or Portugal for 6-8 weeks. It was just, because Lawrence had moved residency, it just wasn't feasible. So we sort of went back and forth quite a few times, and then it went a bit quiet, and next thing you know, he'd sort of moved on, which is absolutely fine on my behalf. But yeah, it's a strange old situation, and hopefully, at the end of the fight, we can all shake hands and move on.
When you're training a Coley or any fighter, you're looking at their weaknesses as much as their strengths. So, because you want to improve them, now you want to expose them. How much of an advantage to Billam-Smith is you being in his corner, having that intimate knowledge of Lawrence?
Yeah, I think it will help. Yeah, and Chris is also, as I said, he's done 200 rounds. He knows. A lot of people look at Lawrence and think, I need to do this specific thing to win the fight. I have to shorten that right hand of his, and I've got to just rough him up and physically push him back and exhaust him. And you'll get some success, but you won't get success, and you won't be winning rounds. So, we know the right way to approach the fight, and it's down to Chris to be able to try and execute that over the 12-round distance. Lawrence is very dangerous early. In fact, he carries power throughout the fight, so we're going to have to be very switched on. But there's one thing boxing someone like Tommy McCarthy the first time and saying, switch on, mate, because he throws those loose shots and sometimes you just don't see him, right? Yeah, cool. And then bang, gets hit with it because he's not expecting it. Yeah. Or that last fight, he's thinking, I know what this guy's about. I'm just going to walk him down and beat him up, and then walked onto a stupid shot. But against React Boy, he knew he was a big puncher, so he was tight on the entrance, tight on the exit. He was always aware of his power, and I think with Lawrence, he's got that status to be, he's a massive puncher, which he is a massive puncher. But Chris will go in there knowing that that's the case, and knowing that he can't switch off, because if he switch off, he gets hit with a good shot. It's a different type of power, so you have to be switched on the whole time. But that's also going to, in my opinion, going to bring the best out of him, because he's going in there knowing full well what he has to do.
What do you think will prove the difference ultimately in the fight and CBS coming out on top?
Mindset. Mindset is key in this fight. So yeah.
We saw Ellie Scottney here earlier. She's fighting for a world title June the 10th now. Originally it was supposed to be this weekend out in Dublin. What was your reaction to that whole situation? I obviously read the statement that you put out. No argument of anything in there, but were you disappointed to have been put in that situation?
Of course I was, and it wasn't Ellie Scotney or Chantelle Cameron or anyone that put me in that situation. It was Eddie Hearn that said, look, I've tried to get this fight made on this date. I want to get this fight out. Why don't you, Chantelle, you've already spoke to Chantelle. Why don't you go and put a statement out? And I don't think that was the right thing to do. I think the promoter should have been the person to do the right thing, either move us or put the statement out himself. I'll put the pressure on the fighter, because he was never going to lose Chantelle Cameron boxing Katie Taylor. It's her biggest moment. Do you know what I mean? It was never going to be the case. It's just someone sat back and didn't want to do the dirty work, and that was Eddie. So, and next thing you know, Ellie's put a statement out. Chantelle, rightfully so, has put a counter statement out. By the way, it was her team that didn't want us on the bill. It wasn't her. I've had to then. She's got lumped in the middle of it. Chantelle has. I've got lumped in the middle of it. I've had to go and defend myself. And this is all dead wood. This is all stuff that's gone on. There's no issue. We've been on cards before. It's coming from a greater source, and unfortunately, we're all there making a stupid scene out of something that's irrelevant. But look, we're here, and we're going to move on, and it's going to be she's going to go out on June the 10th.
Just a quick one on this. The greater source that you're talking about. We're not going to talk about them specifically, but there's a big fight in Ireland for the first time in many, many years taking place this weekend. I don't want to scaremonger, but should people be a little bit concerned from a security aspect? Because I've had people say to me privately that they are.
I think a lot of people would be, especially after the last time there was a big weigh-in over there. So, and I just think maybe the Garda, which is the Irish police, I think they're going to be on red alert. They have a lot of people that are going to have to go to the weigh-ins and go to the press conferences and go to the fights, which is probably going to be double or triple. And that's why there hasn't been professional boxing in Dublin specifically and the south of Ireland since the shooting. So it's a shame that these things happen in boxing, but just unfortunately it does happen. So yeah, as for me, probably I was one of the only people that have never been associated with that organisation. So maybe from a press point of view, I might have been asked a lot of questions and directed a lot of questions, because there's a lot of press out there trying to force questions on those boxers or promoters or managers, and they want answers. And I know a lot of them won't answer it. But I even said I won't go to the press conference. I won't even go to the weigh-in. I'll go to the rules meeting. I'll stay in a separate hotel. We'll drive to the venue. There'll be no crossover. But it was a lot deeper than what it was made out.
How much of a logistical challenge, easy for me to say, is it for you now on June the 10th? Because you've got Adam Azeem obviously in action in London, and you've got the Scotney fight as well.
It was one of the reasons why we didn't want it to go on that day. So yeah, but we'll get it sorted. We always do.
Fair enough. Sticking with the female boxing theme, we saw Caroline Dubois in there doing pads, and are they called paddles? I always get this wrong, but
sticks and paddles. There's foam sticks. Yeah, just a reaction.
Foam sticks. And she looked in great form, and I overheard you talking to some of the newspaper journalists saying how much she's improved.
Yeah.
What areas do you feel she's improved in, and how far away is she from challenging for titles in your view?
Honestly, I think she's going to be one of the best female fighters on the planet in the next 12 months. She honestly, if not the next, she's there now, in my opinion. And she only spars men now. She doesn't spar any girls. We can't get any girls to come and do any rounds with her. She punches extremely hard, and she's calm under pressure now. Whereas a lot of times she used to panic, and not panic as in because she was scared. It was just the amateur system is hit and not get hit, but do everything in your power not to sort of even give one shot off. And it's like, well, the professional game is you've got to be a little bit calmer. You've got to give maybe one or two. Just don't get hit with a big shot. So it's just the last year and a half. I think she's been in the gym, maybe longer, come up to 2 years. So let's just get accustomed to being in that punching range and getting switched on there, but also not, and just settle your breathing down there and just get comfortable there. So, and I think over this whole time, she's just got better and better all the time. And I think she's the most improved fighter in the gym for sure.
And her older brother Daniel, of course, on the verge of a world title shot of his own. He's been nominated to fight Alexander Usyk. How do you feel about that fight? A lot of people saying it's maybe a bit too early for him.
It's not really for me to say, to be honest. I'll let the management talk on that one.
Can you tell us about his kind of form in the gym, at least?
No, not really. We'll keep it hush.
Fair enough. We talked about Azeem Adam headlining in London the same night as Scotney's world title shot. How's he looking in the gym, and what's the plan for him for the rest of this year?
Well, look, this guy's not a bad fighter. He's ranked high, even though he's just sort of become inactive, but he's still ranked within the EBU. He's got a good ranking. He's only got one loss. He's traditionally schooled that Ukrainian style. And they're just, as we know, they're really tough and they've got a really good mindset, those Ukrainian fighters. So this is not a big ask, but it's a decent test. It's a very decent test for him because he's got someone firing shots at his head, can weather a storm. And even though his record doesn't suggest that he dropped Timo Schwarzkopf, quite a few times, so he has that underrated power. So it's a decent test at this stage of his career, and it will be interesting to see how he gets on with this test, and then also it will give us an idea of where we're moving next. So look, there's other promoters out there with their charges and stuff, and we don't really want to sort of tell everyone and all about our plans and the speed that we want to move in. But we've got to get the balance right. We're building the brand, building him as an individual star up. So then when he does get to a fight for a world title, he's already on the verge of selling out arenas. And I'm not talking about just like, we want to be thinking about Wembley Arena as our first one that we can sell out, and then we move on to the O2 and that sort of like. So, and that doesn't happen overnight. It happens over a gradual process. So, and but you can't build a huge fan base, boxing guys that are nobodies, and you're just blitzing them because boxing fans switch off. So, we've got to get the right path, but it's not the first time that we've had this gig. So, and also we've got a fantastic platform that we're working with in Sky Sports, and just the viewerships it's unbelievable. So I think we've got a good blend. You've got a team of experience and know how to manage fighters towards the top. It's got the perfect platform, and he's also a super talented lad that's got it all. So it's going to be an exciting journey for sure.
And just finally, you almost worked with Tommy Fury when the Jake Paul fight was first scheduled. It now looks like he might be fighting KSI next. He seems firmly ensconced in that influencer environment now. Is there any disappointment on your part that he's not pursuing the traditional boxing route? He's clearly got some talent.
No, I not really, because I hope he clears out all those Instagrammers or influencers, whatever you want to call them. I hope he knocks them all out, so then he can put them all off boxing and they don't have to continue to box. Because, as I said, the reason I took that gig on is because Tommy has some quality. He's got good jabs, got good right hand, nice lad, and knows that there is the easiest. I mean, like, okay, do you want to box Lyndon Arthur? Do you want to box Anthony Yard? Or do you want to box Jake Paul and KSI and get paid
5 times as much?
15, 20 times as much. Do you know what I mean? Well, that's a no-brainer. Clear all those guys out, and then at the end of it, he can see if he wants to go off and pursue a proper professional career, or maybe he's made enough money he can sail off into the sunset. But either way, I hope he's the guy that just puts a stop to it. Because I watched that. I didn't watch it. I watched some of the clips on it, and it's a bit embarrassing, isn't it? To be honest, you've even got like the rapper having a scuff outside, and it's becoming far too much in my opinion. And it's just, we're giving them a platform to showcase their foolery, really.
Fair enough, Shane. Really appreciate your time.